You're watching Pyro Media Network. Hello, Pyro Media family. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience with us is fruitful. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. And we do hope you consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
That beat is so jivey. What is going on, everybody? Lottie Dottie. It is your boys, your favorite Blerds. We're here with another episode of the Unusual Mavericks. I'm your host, Kwame, joined by my handsome, my bearded one, just Dominic. What's going on, brother?
It is good to be back for another episode, another week, and boy, is this gonna be a hot one.
Woo! It's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. What is going on, Keats Reynolds? How you doing, sir? Thank you for coming on through, King. Yes, Keats is in the building. It is time to get into it. What's up, Walt B? Walt B is in the building. What's up, fam? How you doing, sir? Yes, shout out to Walt B. Make sure you guys check out the Walt Bay Connection on Mondays and the Walt Bay Seduction in our Patreon. You can definitely head over there to patreon.com/Pyro Media. What is going on? Dr. Hope, one of our gladiators, is in the building. He keeps the streets safe. So thank you so much for coming on through, y'all. We appreciate you. Do me a quick favor, if you haven't seen it in the intro, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe. It does help the algorithm. And if you're feeling so inclined, go ahead and bless us with a cash app or two. Yeah, or 3 or 4. You can hit me up at Kwame C86 or Dominic at Dominic L as in
Larry.
There we go. And Pruitt, Pruitt. That's with 2 T's. You can definitely hit him up there on Cash App. So thank you guys so much for tuning on in. All right, y'all. It's time to get into one of our favorite times of the show, the Maverick Alert. Yes, it is time for the Maverick Alert, y'all. It is time for the Maverick Alert. Maverick Alert time. First and foremost, let's get into the Sandman season 3. Neil Gaiman's changes in Netflix's The Sandman season 2 show receptiveness to fan feedback and improvement in representation, building excitement for the new season, remaining faithful to the source material while making necessary changes, but benefits the story in the Sandman series, enhancing character development and plot complexity. The upcoming changes in the Sandman season 2 promise more interesting story arcs, improved representation, and a chance for underdeveloped characters to shine, potentially making it twice as good as the first season, which I don't know how you could, because the first season was sick. Okay,
it can get better.
It can. but it was sick. Alright, so the changes Neil Gaiman is making to the Sandman season 2 will make fans eager for new episodes. Filming is set to wrap sometime in April 2024, which is next month. Currently working on the final episode of the season, which is super exciting. So once they finish wrapping up, it's going to be like what, maybe 6 months before they finalize everything. So we'll see when it's going to come out. Hopefully it'll come out early next year, or even if they do it well enough, they'll be able to do it by the end of this year. So adaptations are fickle beasts, though, especially when the original creator is involved in the process. It's easy to fall into the trap of having an idea and refusing to deviate. This kind of rigidity can ruin a show. At the same time, too much change from the source material can also be the downfall of an adaptation. Luckily, author Neil Gaiman has walked this line exceptionally well with past projects and will continue to do so with the Sandman season 2. The series will also improve representation overall by introducing more fat characters and Wanda, a trans woman. These upcoming changes increase excitement and anticipation for the Sandman season 2. The Sandman season 2 has an unconfirmed release date. However, it is expected by the late 2024 or early 2025. Yes. So I was kind of right. Yes. So yeah, what are your thoughts, Dominic?
I love how they kept talking about representation.
Mhm.
Right now, we are in a season where these major studios are pivoting from being, as they like to say, woke. They feel like being woke will make you go broke.
Mm-hmm.
And Sandman is actually leaning into more representation. For example, there should have been more of the Angel of Death in season 1. He showed his sister Death, I believe, and she was featured in maybe 2 episodes. She should have had far more screen time as the Angel of Death. In the Sandman comic book, she plays a much larger role, the sister. So there are some ways that they can improve, and as well as they have characters of every shape and size. The article said fat characters, but we know we say big boned or round or thick or plump or whatever, but there will be more representation of what everyday people look like. And these
Absolutely.
everyday people are angels within the series.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it.
So I'm absolutely very happy that this major studio is saying, hey, you know what, we can represent our demographic a little bit better, and they can. So there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, and like what we talked about last week, if we see more of this, with DC, they may overtake Marvel. This is a really critical time for Marvel right now, where they're struggling. They're having issues right now with their content and their quality and their diversity, to be quite honest with you. And so the fact that they've kind of wiped out so much of their Black content, or at least the upcoming content that we were looking forward to, it's not a good sign for overall fans and the diversity of their fans. And Marvel was leading in that. They had different types of characters and representation. And so, if DC is smart, they'll go ahead and do all of that. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Funny that you say that, because obviously we're about to go into a Marvel story that kind of talks about their issues with representation.
Yep. So is Captain America 4 in trouble? So Captain America Brave New World is feeling the pressure of the original Captain America trilogy. Much like Sam Wilson with Steve Rogers, test screenings are not going well. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has seen its fair share of ups and downs, perhaps more downs than ups in the past few years, with each release under intense scrutiny from its fans and critics alike. As the multi-billion-dollar cinematic universe moves on towards its next phase, the next Captain America film, officially titled Captain America Brave New World, which stars a new Captain America in Anthony Mackie, seems to have a knack for finding itself at the center of controversy even before its release. Case in point, the film's most recent test screenings have sparked conversations about its future and how its impact on subsequent MCU films. As per Oh, how I marvel at those marvels. The initial reactions from test screenings are indicating a mixed response, particularly deep concerns about the film's cheap-looking action sequences and the lack of chemistry between Mackie and his love interest. However, it is the handling of political content that seemed to have disappointed audiences the most. Viewers are said to have described the political themes as uninspired and unengaging, which is very concerning. We'll see how that goes. Expressing concerns over its lack of nuance and its tendency to bog down the pacing of the film with overly expository dialogue. Criticisms about the MCU's supposed choice to default to the same, quote, white lead characters and lacking diversity speaks more about the weak writing that has been more evident in the recent MCU outings. In response to in response to these criticisms, it's reported that Marvel Studios is no longer considering trashing the film, rather making large significant changes to the plot, including massive rewrites of 90% of the film, subplots, and changing most of the supporting cast. These changes are intended not only to address specific scenes, but to refine the film's overall direction. But Marvel's reported insistence on premiering in February 2025 is the larger issue at hand. Now that 90% of the film will most likely be reshot, this is an expensive and time-consuming undertaking. It will need to bring in a Black Panther, quote, box office in order to keep some diversity in the MCU. Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson has never had a chance to shine, which is doing an actor of his caliber a disservice. The MCU has already been criticized for its noticeable drop in quality in recent years by pushing the release date of Captain America 4 back, perhaps to May. May of 2025, it could buy itself more time to do reshoots and additional refinement to regain the fan goodwill it lost and ensure the MCU's continued success. Marvel must deliver a project that resonates with audiences and lives up to the high standards set by its predecessors. I don't know if that's going to happen with this one. I'm so sorry. But what are your thoughts?
Well, they're allegedly in the middle of reshoots right now, which is kind of sad because they wrapped on this film last year sometime.
Yeah, right before, I believe, before the strikes, right? Or was it
strike?
After?
Correct. It was after the strike, but they were almost wrapped at that time. So went back to work for maybe a month or so, and then they were done. Which, if you go back for a month, you're really doing all types of trailer type of shots and interesting things after that because the film is done. So to hear that 90% of the movie has to be reshot, that there's a political theme running throughout the movie that maybe offend some or put some to sleep. We have no idea what that means.
It's crazy.
I mean, that statement is loaded all in itself. Uninspired and unengaging political content that this film had. To hear that they're going to get rid of most of the supporting cast and subplots, this is not a good look.
It's not.
This is what hurt Aquaman 2.
Yep.
Hearing that there were reshoots that they were going to, and they only did 4 weeks of reshoots.
Yep.
This film will be reshooting for the next few months at least.
Yeah, at a minimum. And we're talking about 90% of the film.
Yeah.
So that's not a good thing.
And it sounds like they're rewriting it off the cuff. Like, let's see how this scene shoots, and then if it doesn't work, we'll rewrite it.
Right.
That's weird.
Concerning. We'll see how it goes.
Deeply concerning.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up, and last but not least for the Maverick Alert, Spider-Man Across the Spideyverse star Shameik Moore has apologized. Now, I didn't know about this until today. I didn't know this was like such a huge deal, but after we listen to it and find out what's going on, we'll understand why. So on Sunday night, the Into the Spider-Verse sequel lost to Hayao Miyazaki's The Boy and the Heron in the Best Animated Film feature film category. Yeah, this was in the Oscars or the the Image Awards. Oscars.
Yeah,
Image
I guess
Awards.
they announced.
Glad.
Yeah, something happened.
Something.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The 2024 Oscars. Yes. Okay. So
Okay.
my apologies. Moore, who voices Miles Morales, aka the Spider-Man, in the franchise, immediately took to X, formerly known as Twitter, where he posted that the film was, quote, robbed. He received many rebukes that noted that the Sony animated movie lost to a critically acclaimed film made by a legend. Other comments echoed those remarks, asking more to respect Miyakazu's work. One fan pointed out that the Across the Spider-Verse co-writer Christopher Miller and producer had the proper reaction. Miller had tweeted, well, if you're gonna lose, might as well lose to the GOAT, end quote. Moore then, quote, tweeted the fan's comment, apologizing for his actions, quote, saying, "You're right. Honestly, the whole Spider-Verse team are such good sports, very professional, and I'm excited to see what comes of this. I'm young and a fighter, so forgive my nature. Congrats to the winners." I didn't think this was that damn big of a deal, but apparently it was. So there's that.
Well, on the heels of, they're still talking about Jonathan Majors, right? They're still talking
Right.
about him. Allegedly, the woman that was chasing him down the street is now suing him for damages. So there's still fallout, and from what he has done, he was replacing Robert Downey Jr. in a way of being such a big star within the Marvel universe. Now, with the crazed woman chasing him down the street, as we all saw on video, they have flipped it to, obviously he's the,
Aggressor.
he has the problem, he's the aggressor, he's this, he's that. So to have a black actor in a prestigious film make a statement that was not gracious and they consider as very aggressive and scary, that's it causes waves. I'm not saying that he was wrong for his response, but we always,
but that's
have
his
to be
opinion, and
extra.
it wasn't like he wasn't like
You have to be extra careful.
we got to be careful because that's the way it is, Dominic. So,
Yeah, and at that height of responsibility and fame that he's getting a lot of fame for his animated movies.
yeah,
He has to be very careful what he says and does. We all know that.
But my thing is, like,
Majors
I've
puts
seen
everybody under a microscope.
I've seen white actors say worse. So, like,
And when have we lived under the same standard?
but that's what I'm saying. So there's that. And then Walt B Connection says, "Can we believe them when they say it's political though? Writers always make something more than what it is." Well, that's another conversation, Walt B. That's another conversation. But going back to this situation, yeah, I didn't think it was that big of a dang on deal. I didn't see, but again, look at who he is. Look what's happening. And people were really frustrated that the animated movie did so well. It's one of Marvel's better movies in its past phase. And it's not even part of the original canon. So it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating.
Right.
But whatever.
This is all Sony. But we know how this works.
Yep.
Again, they're still talking about Jonathan Majors. So now to have another guy say something against someone else, they look at it as scary and aggressive and and scared to work with him, and it goes all extra and weird.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Well, I mean, what do you think? What are your thoughts on next steps? Like, what do you think he should do? Like, because I mean, they're gonna drag it out forever. So I'm wondering what else other than apologizing is he gonna do?
And he said congratulations to the winner. All he said is the film was robbed. He felt as though the film was robbed, which is a overall lighthearted remark.
Yeah.
coming from from the losing team, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yes, Into the Spider-Verse, the first film did very well, and I believe won some awards.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they were either nominated for Oscar last year or something. So I
Yeah.
understand that, that competitive nature, wanting to do your best and of course win. I mean,
Yeah.
right now, look at little old me is nominated for a tiny award. And yeah, the nomination is cute, but it'll be a lie if you say you don't want to win
Right. Right.
any
Exactly.
award. You want to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think his response was very human, but he is now under the spotlight. He is one of the biggest black stars that Marvel has currently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the
Absolutely.
everything he says is going to be, and when one falls, it's like, I don't know, people get bloodthirsty and they want to pull down somebody else. So he's just, just keep on doing what you're doing. Don't
It's
sweat the
always
small things and just keep going.
right. It's always going to be an issue, with him. So the more well you do, I guess, the better you do. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get
Yeah.
into some Blerd news. We got a lot to talk about. So we gotta make it quick because we're almost at the halfway point, and I want to make sure that we get into today's superhero. So first up, going into Dune 2, or actually Warner Brothers Discovery. Let's go into Dune 2. Dune 2 box office passes huge domestic milestone in week 3. Week 3. So Dune Part 2 is shining yet again. During its third weekend at the box office, the domestic box office, hitting an important milestone. Per deadline, the Dune 2 box office is projected to take in a 3-day domestic total between 28 and 29 $1 million by the end of its third week in theaters. The movie's cumulative domestic gross, is set to pass the $200 million milestone. In addition to hitting an important performance benchmark, this domestic total alone is higher than the complete worldwide totals of every other 2024 release, with the second highest being Bob Marley, One Love's 162.3 million global haul. Zendaya's expanded role in Dune 2 showcases her talent, leading to one of her biggest movie roles yet. Dune 2's massive box office success has elevated Zendaya's star power and brings more attention to her upcoming movie Challengers. Challengers offers Zendaya a very different role from Chani in Dune 2, highlighting her versatility and acting prowess. Dune 2 better utilizes Zendaya by giving her character Chani a much larger role than before. The great box office performance has continued, with Dune 2 already making close to $400 million worldwide.
Wow.
You better give it up to a black woman right there. Give it up.
Yeah. So see, look at that. They expanded her role in the film is benefiting from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, is what this article is saying, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Give it up for Zendaya. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
My God.
You and I had a conversation before the show started about TV actresses as opposed to movie star actresses.
Yeah.
You can be a TV actress and have the best role on TV, the best numbers and ratings, but you're still not considered A-list.
Yeah.
When you cross over into movies, right, and you have a big blockbuster movie, then you are part of the A-list crowd. So it's very interesting to know that she has had quite success on Disney in her childhood, and then now in Euphoria, HBO Max Euphoria. She's gotten a lot of critical praise, but this and she was in Spider-Man too, but even obviously that role was a very limited role from what they're saying. to her role in Dune 2, which
Right.
really shows how powerful of an actress that she is. I think she has been deeply underrated for a long
Oh
time.
yeah, oh yeah. I think people
So,
started noticing her in Euphoria in her skill.
yeah,
Like I noticed her tremendously in Euphoria. I think she is a brilliant actress. I think the way she emotes is really really dope. And I just think that this is a really good time for Zendaya. And I think this is a
yeah,
really good time for people to really notice and understand where she's coming from. It's not just the entire Dune cast, but Zendaya brought it. Zendaya brought it, and she is just that girl. So I'm looking forward to more from Zendaya, and also just overall, like what I wonder what Warner Brothers Discovery is going to do now, because it can't be a situation. Something's going on with certain movies that is pulling people to go see it, right? And so what does this mean for overall, like DC, Marvel, all these other companies that are producing these movies? What does this mean? Do we limit the amount of movies that are being produced? Do we focus on box blockbusters? Because now this guarantees Dune to continue on with other stuff. They have star
absolutely.
power now. They have
This
brand
franchise
awareness.
is doing it.
Yeah, the franchise is
Yes.
doing it. So what is it about this franchise? What is going on with this franchise that is making people want to go see it? And does this change the order of what people go and see things on? Like what are we placing our money in? Because nobody else went to go see the other movies. They waited to see Dune. So, Dune 2. So is this going to be a situation where we're going to be looking more at like what the other like what is worth going to go see? If I'm going to see, if there's 5 movies that are airing or coming out in a month, am I limiting to a particular movie? Like what is it about those things? So these are questions that they got to ask themselves, because people are not going to movies like they used to. So, and what does this mean? Do we go and release things straight to streaming first with certain movies, and then send stuff to the box office? Do we, we're seeing a lot of movie theaters close. What does that mean? Does it mean that eventually the movie theater industry is going to, die out? Like, what is its replacement? So I don't know. There's a lot to talk about, a lot of stuff to kind of focus on when it comes to that. What are your thoughts?
We'll see if they pay attention to the numbers. Then we'll see. I think that they've already said that they were going to slow down their big releases into the theaters, which is a very smart thing to do. The next thing, like for Warner Brothers, to do is to release the Godzilla movie. And that already has a built-in audience.
Yeah.
And a multi-billion-dollar box office already.
Yeah.
So critics and fans alike are saying that they will go to the theater, sacrifice, and see Godzilla.
Yeah.
So, I think people want quality. They don't want 10, 12 movies at a time being released, because, there's going to be a lot of losers.
Yeah.
So,
and to your point with Godzilla, like we're talking about brand awareness, right? Like people, what made is it Warner Brothers that owns the Godzilla franchise? Yeah. So what made Warner Brothers, put Monarch on Apple when they could have put it on, HBO Max? So, and Monarch did really, really well in ratings. So, that's a thing, so we'll see what's going to go on. But let's head over to Marvel Studios, peeps. Let's head over there and see what's going on. Over there we have Miles Morales' Spider-Man, which we talked about with Shameik Moore, gets terrifying redesign as a Marvel villain by Screen Rant. So Miles Morales transforms into a bloodthirsty vampire in Marvel's Blood Hunt series. Spider-Man joins forces with Avengers to fight vampires before his terrifying turn. The cover reveals a stunning transformation for Miles, promising gory and violent issues. Blood Hunt 2024, Miles Morales' Spider-Man transforms into a horrific fanged creature on Pepe Larraz's cover for the 3rd issue of Marvel's vampire crossover event Blood Hunt. Though the wall crawler has appeared on other covers for the series, this is the first indication that Miles will become a bloodthirsty creature during the upcoming event. It raises questions as to how Spider-Man has become a vampire and what will happen once he turns. Blood Hunt is Marvel's big event of the summer, focused on the vampires of Earth 616. The main miniseries is written by Jed MacKay, with art and covers by Pepe Larraz, with other ongoing series taking part in crossover issues. Early covers show heroes, including Miles Morales, uniting to stop the monsters, but that appears to change by Blood Hunt issue number 3, as the cover shows a vampirized Miles Morales. It will be interesting to see how Blade and the other Avengers contend with one of the youngest heroes they've fought, alongside becoming a bloodthirsty monster. It remains to be seen how Eric Brooks and his daughter Brielle will deal with this dreadful development. With his abilities, Miles could become one of the most terrifying vampire villains the heroes will have to fight during the event. Miles Morales' fate in the Marvel Universe will be revealed when Spider-Man's vampiric summer begins May 2024 in the crossover event Blood Hunt. So this is going to be really, really dope. I'm actually really interested in it. If you guys actually read the comics, you can actually go to there is an app for Marvel, I believe. Oh my god, what is it? Do I have it here? There's an app for Marvel where you guys can actually download and read the actual there it is. No, that's not it. I think I deleted it. Oh yes, Unlimited, Marvel's Unlimited, and it's basically you can read any issue, any comic that has ever existed, and any upcoming ones that are coming up in the Marvel Universe. So if you're a comic lover, go ahead and make sure you check that out. But this is going to be really, really dope. I'm really, 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 really excited about this. So, I want to talk about something. Oh, did you have anything before we go into that? I'm sorry. Okay,
No.
I want to talk about something before we go to commercial. X-Men 97 has just recently, the first 2 episodes have just recently been released. Now, before we go into anything, I want to give a spoiler alert. We're going to talk about it. If you haven't seen it, I'm so sorry. This is your opportunity to go and do something else, okay? But this was the shiznick, in my humble opinion. There were some issues, major issues that I had, but these are things that that you know, Dominic and I were talking about earlier in the Maverick Alert, and just kind of like overall what's been going on with, you know, Marvel. But what are your thoughts before I say what I need to say, just Dominic?
Well, I saw the first 2 episodes, and I feel like this is not a continuation of the classic series, but a kind of a reboot of sorts, or a parallel Earth. That is what I feel. That's the perfect way to say it. This is a parallel universe of the classic series. Some of the character arcs and connections were very uncomfortable and strange to me. I also did not really care for the downgrade that Storm kind of went through with her power level. It did not make sense.
Yep.
It felt kind of cheesy and campy in certain parts, with Cyclops saying "my X-Men" and him kind of really being featured as this big amazing hero. It was kind of strange.
Yeah. And Cyclops has always been the leader, but I didn't understand why Bishop was there. Like, that was really strange to me, because Bishop ends up taking over as a leader and it felt like he was like kind of like Cyclops' flunky. And I didn't like that. And also Bishop didn't really talk too much in there. He was just really kind of just there. That bothered me.
Yeah.
I also thought that they were going to make make Rogue more what the original comic was about, where she was, you know, I don't know, black, you know, and Cajun, but whatever, that's fine. What I did like though was what they did with Morph. Because I felt like that was something that was more more of a shapeshifter. Like I got it. It was really, really cool. And I just loved how Morph's personality was kind of very similar to the original. Yeah. I did not like
and how he played with Wolverine.
Yes, exactly. I did not like what they did with Rogue. And her having this weird affair with Magneto. That was weird. Really weird.
Magneto must be really good at what he does, because she was like, that'll never happen again, and she could not fight herself. So I was like, ooh, okay.
I mean, he must have some good magnetism, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just
something was happening.
Something was going on. But I will say that one of the like I said, you know, one of the things that I really loved was Morph. I loved what they did with him, but I want to talk about a particular portion, and this kind of gets me what pissed me off, and this is going to actually lead into why Storm is one of, if not my favorite superhero of all time. It pissed me off that she lost her powers, because it's like, we just got her back. You already downplayed Bishop. We don't have Black Panther. We're not getting Blade. We're not getting any of these black characters. We're not getting Wakanda, the Wakanda spinoff. We're not getting any of these black things. We're probably not going to get a Captain America 4, which I just feel like we're not going to get. I just don't see it. You're going to do reshoots for all of this? 90% of reshoots, you're going to spend all that money on something you can't even bank that you're going to get your money back on? I don't see it. So you couldn't even give us Storm. We asked for one thing. You couldn't even give us Black Panther. Fine. Okay? That was already a tough pill to swallow. But you can't even give us a proper Storm. This is when I'm politically radio, so I have to be careful with my words. We have been complaining about Storm and getting a proper Storm forever. We got the weird Halle Berry Storm, okay? Love you, Halle Berry, but you were not Storm, okay? We had somewhat of a okay Storm, and what was going in the right general direction when we got that young Storm in this last series with the Dark Phoenix and everything, with Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse, the last, I think it was movie 2, where we saw the Phoenix. That was okay. We were starting to get into some type of direction, but you've never given us a proper Storm. And in X-Men 97, or in 1997, we got a Storm that was so weak. Every time that something happened, she's an Omega level mutant. Arguably one of the most powerful mutants of all time. The African goddess. She was literally worshipped as a goddess. Her name, Ororo, means oil, God's anointing, beauty. Oh yeah, it's gonna return. It has to, because if it doesn't, Keith, I promise you right now. Listen to me good, y'all. Listen to me good. If her powers don't return within 2 episodes, I don't even want to wait for you. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but if it doesn't return in 2 episodes, I'm not only canceling my Disney Plus subscription, but I am cussing Marvel out. Anywho,
we'll see.
I have to talk about. We're gonna go to commercial, but before we go to commercial, I'm sorry. Do you have anything else before we go to commercial?
No, I just think that what they're going to do is make Storm the plot of this season, and then return her powers right before the big fight at the end of this season. Watch, because that's a formula that they always play with.
I don't want. That's what they're going to do. Her powers need to return within 2 episodes. 2, okay? Because you can't give us what I'm about to show you, and then just that's it. So we're going to go to one of the best parts, one of my favorite parts of the entire show, of the past 2 episodes, the premiere episodes, one of the best parts. Let me tell you why Black women run this world, why Black women are so dang important, okay? And why Storm is that girl and will always be that girl. I'm going to show you. We're going to watch this clip from X-Men 97. the baddest part of the entire show. And then when we come back from commercial, we're going to talk about the one, the only Ororo Munroe.
Surrender. Give him the forecast.
Omega level threat detected.
Ancient sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Because self-care should be luxurious. Luxe Noir.
Hey pilots, did you know that you can now catch the electrifying sounds of Bullet in Flight Radio anywhere you go? Yes, you heard it right. Tune in to the high-flying beats and soaring melodies by downloading the TuneIn app on your mobile device. Just search for Bullet in Flight Radio and hit play. It's that easy. And if you have a smart device like Alexa or Google, just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play Bullet in Flight Radio on TuneIn." Experience the rush of adrenaline wherever you are. Listen to Bullet in Flight Radio on TuneIn using your Alexa or Google devices. Soaring through the skies has never sounded this good. Don't miss out on the ultimate musical journey. Tune in now to Bullet in Flight Radio on TuneIn and let the music take you on an unforgettable ride. Get ready to elevate your listening experience. Brought to you by Bullet in Flight Radio.
Are you ready for enlightening conversations that transcend boundaries? Get ready for Conversations with Clergy, brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. In partnership with the world's largest publicly funded international collaboration, the HVTN is dedicated to evaluating vaccines to prevent HIV and COVID-19, but their impact doesn't stop there. The HVTN is at the forefront of advancing vaccinology, social and behavioral sciences, statistics, immunology, and even contributing to the research on tuberculosis and COVID-19 vaccines. By supporting Conversations with Clergy, the HVTN not only brings you thought-provoking discussions, but also contributes to the global effort to combat infectious diseases. Tune in, stay informed, and be a part of the change. Conversations with Clergy, supported by the HVTN, empowering conversations, empowering lives. Join us in this journey of knowledge, understanding, and progress. Conversations with Clergy, proudly brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, because together we can make a difference.
black, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, share, and subscribe. It does help the algorithm, and it lets people know what we are and what we're doing here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a maverick. All right, y'all. And thank you to all of our sponsors, Bullet and Flight Radio, the #1 progressive Christian and inspirational radio station in the world. Thank you to Lux and Noir and everybody la-da-da-da. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into some things here where it's time for Maverick Talk, y'all. It's time to get into Maverick Talk, and we're going to have a conversation about one of my favorite characters in the entire Marvel universe, if you will. But before we do, we did have a Black influencer series, which Dominic was so gracious enough to produce. So we did. If you guys want to check that out, I will make sure I put the playlist in that in the comments below. Last week we talked about the Black Superman, Calvin Harris. Harris? Ellis. Calvin Harris is a DJ. My bad. Calvin Ellis, which is of Earth 30. Which Earth was he in?
23.
Earth 23. So definitely check out last week's episode as well. And so we talked about him. But this week, we are in our Black superhero series and continuing it on. And we're going to be talking about the one, the only, who is Ororo Munroe. Dominic, take it away, please.
All right. So who is Ororo Munroe? It would eventually be revealed that Nadar and Ororo were descendants of a priestess. Okay. I hate when people interrupt when I'm. Anyway, Aisha. So let me say that again: that they were descendants of the high priestess Aisha, who wielded magic so powerful that she was thought to be the ancient world sorceress supreme. Her era equivalent of today's Doctor Strange, in essence. After being a staple in Marvel's universe for more than a decade, it wasn't until 1992 that the audience really was officially introduced to Storm, aka Ororo Supreme, through Fox's X-Men the Animated Series. As the group's de facto mother figure, she was the voice of reason and second in command for this particular superhero team. Her ongoing popularity filtered over to other shows like X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men, and the current X-Men 1997. Some of her most shocking love interest was, of course, Black Panther, Wolverine, and Thor. Some of the highlights from the comic book series, since we don't have much to go on with movies and shows that she should have been in, we're going to really stick with her comic book continuity. If you're feeling romantic, then you should really revisit the Black Panther and Storm romantic journey, and then check out the alternate future together in Marvel's Voices Legends, #1, issue #1. It's a really good issue. It's kind of old, but it's really good. Storm and Black Panther's love story actually began when they were both children, as it was revealed in the Marvel Team Up, which was released in 1972, issue 100. The pair made a great team, and they had wonderful chemistry. You get a chance to see them grow up, her and T'Challa in their travels together, and all that they did. That continues into Storm's 2006 miniseries, which was amazing. Look how long it took, 1972 to 2006. So it wasn't a story that Marvel was really, really going after, unfortunately, but it was another great story. In Black Panther 2005, issue 14, Black Panther's mother sent T'Challa on a journey to find a wife, and in hopes that he would come back with Storm. And it kind of worked. Ororo and T'Challa marriage kicked off with a superhero wedding of the century. That was featured in Black Panther 2005's issue number 18. In Black Panther 2005 issue number 26, the two stepped up for Sue and Reed Richards for the Fantastic Four. And they became the new leaders of the Fantastic Four. Can you imagine that? I would love to see that in live action. That would be so interesting. And then we wouldn't see them again until 2011, the Avengers versus the X-Men in issue number 5, where Storm threw down the gauntlet in form of her wedding ring. And the former lovers, Black Panther and Storm, begin to battle one another. Now, I actually remember this issue because it was so disappointing because they annulled their marriage and they officially became enemies, Storm and Black Panther. And what a tragedy to see them go from lovers from 1972. So here we are in 2012, and now they are enemies. It really sucked. So in 2011, I should say. So again, we see them again in Avengers versus the X-Men in 2012. Well, Black Panther, he provided a refuge for the Avengers team in Wakanda. And of course, it's just a lot, and it's a lot of crazy ups and downs. And it cost him his friendship with Namor, who was able to will the Phoenix power. That would be very interesting to read about. Anyway, so now back to the Avengers versus the X-Men in issue number 7. They again show an alternate future, probably because fans like me were complaining, where Black Panther and Storm remained together. They remained married and together, and they worked out all of their differences. This issue is currently featured in Marvel's Voices Legends issue number 1, which is now on sale. So they have another, and lastly, this issue I was just reading the other day, X-Men Curse of the Man-Thing issue number 1, which again is now on sale, where they show the shocking pairing up of Storm and Wolverine. And they have their wonderful but crazy relationship, and it's really interesting to see how they would put those two together. So if you're interested to see how those two characters would work in a romantic relationship, this particular issue would be what you would want to read. Most recently, though, and Storm herself has been seen with Thor, who found the hammer Storm and presented it to the Thunder Goddess. And he presented it to her while they were on a very romantic date. Now, there was no sparks or chemistry that really happened on their date, but Thor was definitely interested in Miss Storm, okay? It didn't look like she was feeling him. But it's a very interesting pairing because he was so attracted and he gravitated to her character, her demeanor, her beauty, and her power level. And what a goddess she is. So if you're interested in seeing Storm and all of these different variations and alternate outcomes, these are the issues. I'm sure that we're going to put them all in the comment section. We're going to put all of the comic books if you're interested.
There's a lot of them there. We can just say it. But I did put the link to the Storm fun facts in there. You guys can actually get the links to the actual issues that they're in from there as well. So
from there, you sure can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this was a Storm is literally like an underrepresented, underappreciated, and what's the word?
Utilized,
yes, utilized a character, and I think that it just goes to show what type of powers that are running these superhero franchises. And so we have somebody who literally can control nature, who literally is one of the most powerful mutants of all time, who literally has
she's more than a mutant.
Mm-hmm, right, she's a goddess. So and she literally, her mutant gene We talked about this in one of our producing meetings. You know, her mutant gene enhances her magic. She controls magic, like she has ability to wield magic. So, you know, it there's a lot to.
I didn't even realize if you take Doctor Strange, as they said, and the fact that he's a sorcerer supreme, and then if he was a mutant on top of that, then you would literally have the male version of Storm.
Yeah. Which is saying that he's not even as strong as Storm.
No. So only in the comic books. That's why I wanted to focus on the comic books, because we get her true origin, we get her true layout. She is not, her powers are not hampered by trying to be upstaged by somebody else. So in the comic books, we get the real version of Storm. So that's why I wanted to highlight all those different issues. You all can take the time if you want to read or browse those beautiful, and they have such beautiful illustrations of her. She's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, she is. And it's just, I'm just really, we need a proper Storm movie, and I'm not going to continue or stop complaining about it until we get a proper Storm movie. So that's just
what they'll never show is Thor having a crush on Storm. They're never gonna show that.
No. They'll probably try to turn it around and say that Storm has a crush on him or something like that, because you know we can't have a black woman being chased and made and they will never admit that Storm is more powerful than Thor. But that's here nor there. You know, we're getting into some dicey territory in the nerd world. You know, that we may get some bad press, but whatever. But that is going to do it for today's episode, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our Black Superhero series. We are, I'm really excited about this series. Thank you so much to Just Dominic for producing this, and thank you guys for tuning on in. If you have not done so already, make sure you guys text Blaze. That's BLAZE to 833-793-2423, so you can know when we go live or when we upload new content, and when we go live stream. Definitely check out the other shows on Pyro Media Network. Also, make sure you guys head over to Bullet in Flight Radio, the #1 progressive Christian and inspirational radio station in the world. You can go ahead and donate to them by donating on Cash App to Bullet in Flight Radio, or PayPal by hitting paypal.me/Bullet in Flight Pros, as in productions. So shout out to all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that if you're watching on the replay, make sure you guys like that button, hit that like button, share and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Do you got anything else before we go?
Yes, I just want to say thank you to everybody who is voting for me for the Gospel Choice Awards. I haven't been online to actually say this, so I wanted to actually look people in the eyes and say thank you for voting for me. If you haven't voted, please vote for me. It means a lot. Thank you, and I love you.
And I am putting
stay unusual.
But before we head out, I am putting the link. While I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and you guys can vote unlimitedly, so you guys until the end of the month. So I have been voting every 5 seconds that I can to do it. So make sure you guys are in there. But Dominic, you are in 4th place. You were literally in 6th or 7th place a couple of days ago. So shout out to you, and shout out to everybody that's voting. It is just dope to see. Oh my God, you made a huge boost since this morning. So shout out to everybody that is voting for him. I did put the link in there. You can vote as many times as you want until in the first phase, which is for the rest of the month. So please go out there, vote, help our brother out, and we appreciate you guys. All right, y'all. We will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much. Stay unusual and stay blessed, and peace.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.